Okay, on the Newshour tonight, we have the BJP's Meenakshi Lekhi and Sanjay Jha of the Congress Party. What's the context? Well, Meenakshi Lekhi, the context is that the Congress Party wants you to be more hawkish. The Congress Party wants you to throw out the Pakistani envoy and is not satisfied with the action that your government has taken so far. Before I begin the debate, I personally am quite stunned at the reversal of position and the hypocrisy and the U-turn of the Congress Party. So I'd like to ask first the Congress Party representative, sir, how short is your memory, Mr. Jha? I just want to begin by asking you, how short is your memory? Can you tell, or rather should I say, how short is your party's memory? 1 month, 2 months, 1 year, 1 hour, 1 week? What's your memory time band, Mr. Jha? I've asked you the question. Can't you hear me?
I don't know what your question is.
No, my question is how long?
Who from our party has said that the envoy must be thrown out? Now I'm asking you a question. Who from our party has said that the current Pakistan High Commissioner should be sent back?
So you are not for any action against the Pakistan High Commissioner. You support him.
What I mean,
so you 1 second, one minute, because one minute. Yesterday, See, I tell you about the flip flop. If you want to hear, Mr. Jha,
with whom we have a very complex and a difficult relationship. I think we need to talk about it with sensitivity and complete transparency.
Okay. So, Mr. Jha,
I'm asking you a question.
Mr. Jha,
who from our party? Because to the best of my knowledge, until 2 minutes ago, when I sat in front of your television camera, I have not been told by anybody from my party that we are recommending any action or not. I mean, we have today a BJP government which hasn't taken the political parties and the opposition into confidence. We know that the Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, has had 2 interactions with his Pakistani counterpart,
at the
Mr.
action on Pakistan.
We have no idea what has transpired in those meetings. So I think it would be appropriate if you ask Meenakshi to respond and then you come up with a pertinent question. I have my answers quite ready.
Mr. Jha, I know you have your answers ready, but you know the unique irony of your situation is that you can't choose to answer the questions, your own questions. You will answer my questions. Yesterday you are egging the BJP to call off the talks, okay? And you are asking me who? Salman Khurshid wanted the BJP to call off the talks. Manish Tiwari wanted the Congress to call off the government to call off the talks. 1 minute, let me complete. Let me complete, Mr. Jha. Mr. Jha, let me complete. And 1 second, Mr. Jha, don't interrupt me here because I'm asking you a question unless you want to go through the logical fatality of not answering a question that is appropriate for you. First, you tell them call off the talks. Then you slam them for then you slam them for calling off the talks. I mean, do you even know what you're talking about, Mr. Jha, anymore?
Okay, now let me answer. Arnab, I'm assuming you've finished your question. Number one, the reason why we questioned them was because you and I both know that over the last 2 weeks there have been several, violations at the LOC. There has been an attack on our own security forces in Kashmir.
This is from a party that believed in biryani diplomacy till yesterday
in Pakistan. And 1 minute, and for a government whose Prime Minister has been, taking on a lot of muscular posturing on Pakistan, especially during the election campaign, we were stunned by the silence that was being maintained by the BJP. And therefore we had every right to ask the BJP government that if they were looking at a serious engagement between the two senior most diplomats of Pakistan and India,
Mr. Jha,
we needed to know how appropriate was the climate for such a discussion.
Mr. Jha,
and I think if the BJP today has buckled on its own internal contradictions, is for them to explain. After all, it is the Prime Minister who invited Nawaz Sharif for his oath-taking ceremony. And you and everybody else in the media and everyone else believed this was a breakthrough moment.
Mr. Jha.
Now we need to ask ourselves what's happened in 3 months that there's been a complete collapse in dialogue.
Mr. Jha, I'll let you recover. Because in the initial arguments, you got very wound up.
No, I'm ready.
No, it's okay. I'll give you a few minutes to recover. Because you're wound up and you're looking a little lost in words and confused in the train of your own argument. Understandable. Please recover, Mr. Jha. But here Meenakshi Lekhi's response. Meenakshi Lekhi, you can respond to the many questions the Congress Party has raised you about what they feel are the inconsistencies of your own position vis-a-vis Pakistan. Miss Meenakshi Lekhi.
My point is very simple. There is no inconsistency so far as our relationship with any country is concerned. The consistency is that national interest needs to be protected at every cost. And consistency is, if it's okay to befriend a foe, we will do it. And if it's okay to leave a friend, we shall do it, all in the interest of nation. Now, we tried to befriend these people when Pakistan especially, when our Prime Minister took oath, we called upon them, we wanted a peaceful relationship, we want to continue the journey as peaceful neighbors. At the same time, humiliation or having duplicitous relationship is not in the interest of India, and thus we took a stand after monitoring the situation over a stretch of time, when on one side we wanted to carry forward the dialogue and let the secretaries meet. There were constant violations at the LOC. There were 20 outposts which have been attacked. To rub salt into the wounds, they went to the extent of inviting the separatists. India and Mr. Modi's government had the option of doing identically the same by calling upon the Balochs and call them for talks, and it was tit for tat, very welcome. Any Indian would have welcomed it, and even the people in the world could not have objected to. But we chose not to tread that path for the simple reason that we believe that it is their internal matters. Let Pakistan resolve its conflict by its own government. We shall not intervene. And we follow this policy, what we believe in, and then the only option we had was to call off the talks.
No, so
now,
what's the counter?
The next point,
no, twice. What's it? Sanjay Jha raised his hand twice, so I'll give him a counter. Mr. Jha, why are you raising your hand? What's your counter? Make it brief. What's your counter to Meenakshi Lekhi? Are you remembering what Sushil Kumar Shinde said when he was welcoming the Hurriyat leaders meeting with the Pakistanis in 2013? Or are you remembering the kind of pusillanimous reactions that came from a man called Salman Khurshid, who not just encouraged but argued for why the Hurriyat should be meeting the Pakistanis?
One second. Let me respond.
No, 1 second. Before you put a counter, do you want to explain that?
No, 1 minute. You did not interrupt Meenakshi Lekhi. Please do not interrupt me.
No, of course I did to let you counter, so correct yourself. Go ahead.
Number one, you and I both know that, and everybody knows, that the Hurriyat is not a true representative of the people of Kashmir.
Then why did you let them meet the Pakistanis till last year?
Democratically elected government.
Why did you let them meet the Pakistanis till last year?
We have also...
Why did you let them meet the Pakistanis till last year? We are all asking you that question.
As in the UPA government, you are interrupting me, no?
No, Mr. Jha, you're not answering my question. Of course, I'll interrupt you, Mr. Jha. I'm going to keep interrupting you till you answer my question, Mr. Jha.
The Pakistani establishment has been
Jha, you have to answer my question.
Members of the Hurriyat leadership. But I want to bring one point to you.
Don't try and get away, Mr. Jha.
Can I make one point and then I'll answer all your questions, Arna? One question. Before I forget it.
Mr. Jha. One question for you, Mr. Jha.
Before I forget it, I might forget what I have in mind to tell you.
No, forget it. You answer my question. My question is...
All right, you're the anchor. You have the last word.
No, I'm not the anchor. I am the... Yes, I am the anchor. And if you want to be, you can be when you change your profession. And by the way, Mr. Jha, you might have that option soon. Now, my question to you is, Mr. Jha, answer the question very directly. Salman Khurshid says on Pakistani separatist meet, of course they can meet. And he says it when he's the Foreign Minister of India. November 10th, 2013, at 3:30 p.m., Salman Khurshid is asked this question by a Times Now reporter. And he says, of course they can have these meetings. When people come for bilateral meetings, they have their own schedules. We will meet a few people too, and our agendas are similar. Now, there's another person called Sushil Kumar Shinde. Is he from the Congress? He says in November 12, 2013. They have been meeting the Pakistani leaders. They, that is the Hurriyat, has been meeting Pakistani leaders since 1999. They met in 2000. What's wrong? Sushil Kumar Shinde said. They met in 2001. What's wrong? Sushil Kumar Shinde said. They met in 2003 and the March 2004. Precedent has been set. Media should not ask these questions. Media should not ask these questions. These were the words of your Home Minister. No. So explain yourself. So explain yourself.
I'm surprised. Okay, now let me answer.
So explain yourself.
And I hope you will not interrupt me for
you
at
explain.
least 1
You answer
minute.
my question.
Let me explain.
You first answer my question.
How come you forgot How come you forgot the most classic example during the Agra summit? During the Agra summit, when Mr. Vajpayee was going to meet on the invitation after the Kargil war, even despite that experience, even despite being completely let down by the Lahore Declaration and Kargil war happened, what did you find out? When the Agra summit was happening, the Pakistan High Commissioner invited the Hurriyat leadership and they met General Musharraf here, and this happened before the meeting between India's Prime Minister Mr. Vajpayee and General Musharraf. So let not the BJP please give any lectures here. End of day, let me tell you the truth. I think it's correct on the part of BJP not to be, approving of the Hurriyat leadership meeting the Pakistan High Commissioner.
Again, you are getting confused. You are getting mightily confused.
But there's one critical point here. We are actually trying to now legitimize the Hurriyat leadership, because end of day and you should ask this question of Meenakshi Lekhi today, is the BJP saying that there will be no future diplomatic engagement with Pakistan? If the
Are you worried about that? Are you a Pakistan apologist?
Is that a new part? Is that a new part? We need to know. I think Kashmir, on issues of Kashmir that Pakistan keeps raising from time to time, issues of national security, issues of diplomacy is not a prerogative of the BJP government, is a national interest.
Mr. Jha, no long answers now, please. Mr. Jha, no long answers, please.
Merely as a representative of the Congress party.
Mr. Jha,
you can't have a unilateral decision by the Prime Minister of the BJP government.
Okay, now, Mr. Jha, that's rich. Let Meenakshi respond. I won't come in between both of you. But I will just remind you how you humiliated and hurt the people of this country when this man called Manmohan Singh, the most non-performing Prime Minister in the history of India, the greatest embarrassment as a Prime Minister in the history of India, Manmohan Singh, equated Pakistan with India as a victim of terrorism 2 months after the July train bombings in Mumbai. Where was your conscience then? Or did you sell it at that point of time? Now on your Vajpayee question, I'll let Meenakshi respond. Meenakshi Lekhi.
Yeah, and by the way, for the BJP that criticized the Sharma Sheikh statement,
why
did the Prime Minister Mr. Modi invite Nawaz Sharif?
Meenakshi Lekhi, go ahead.
No, why did he do that?
Meenakshi Lekhi, go ahead.
Sudden photo op so
Mr. Jha, if you have the patience, kindly listen to me, and then we can go to the next point.
Let Mr. Modi answer that question.
If you have I'll answer about Mr. Vajpayee also, and I want to rake up how your government functioned under Mrs. Gandhi, especially when we had 90,000 people as prisoners of war from Pakistan during Bangladesh war, and we signed Shimla Agreement. Our forces really did a commendable job. And what kind of agreement did Mrs. Gandhi enter into? You know, a region called Cham in Kashmir that was handed over. And till date, people from Cham have not got the rehabilitation package from the previous government.
Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee called
Mr. Jha, you now better be patient. I'm going to take you. I'm going to walk you through the history. I'm going to walk you through the history. Now, better have patience. Better have patience. I'm going to walk you through the history and the fact we all eulogized. We kept saying, oh, Shimla Agreement, what an achievement.
But let us have honest history, not Dinanath Batra kind of history, please.
When it came to the actual, when we came to the actual agreement itself, in the reality, we handed over Cham to Pakistan. We handed over lands to Pakistan when our forces had reached they would have reached Lahore also, and we withdrew. In spite of all the achievements that our forces made, our political will or immaturity of leaders never really twisted the arm of Pakistan to achieve the political
are we going to take history lessons from your BJP spokesperson, please? Do I need to remind Meenakshi Lekhi that your government was sleeping when Kargil war had already happened? Do you know that the Kargil war, the Pakistanis had already infiltrated into Indian territory and you did not even know about it? You got to know through a shepherd doing his job on the hills.
What about beheading of soldiers? What about Kalia? What about so many wrongs which have happened? Do we have to go back? Or we stand together when it comes to the action against Pakistan? Do you remember the words of Vajpayee when Indira Gandhi was fighting war against Pakistan in Bangladesh? She said she's like Durga. That is what a good opposition is, that in the interest of nation, you don't mind sacrificing your party's interest. Now here we see a reverse position. I am not saying
I'm
any
glad you
history is
remembered
perfect,
what I reminded you
but when
of.
you read history, you better read the agreements. And when you had the edge over the enemy, when you had the edge over and you could have made certain gains, you have forgotten to make those gains. You know how pathetically drafted the Jammu Kashmir policy has been of this government. The architect was Jawaharlal Nehru. And all the problems we are facing today because of the gentlemen.
The Lahore Declaration is famous.
Mr. Jha,
war in Kargil.
When you talk about
your intelligence was a disastrous failure. Meenakshi, your intelligence was a disastrous failure. We lost 50 lives before the Indian government realized we had a problem at the border.
We want friendly relations.
And despite that, you invited Mr. Musharraf for the Agra summit, which was a colossal disaster.
You see, Mr. Jha.
And I'm happy we have a Prime Minister who can take a stand.
Mr. Jha, just before I close this, a reality check for you. A reality check for you. I have a reality check for you.
Believe there should be no.
I have a reality check for you.
My only one question.
You see,
I agree with you that we are victims of terrorism. Of course, we recognize that. Meenakshi, we are on the same page here. We are victims of terrorism. We are victims of cross-border incursion.
I'm not interested in your empty lectures.
That Pakistan is the
Mr. Jha,
the 1,000 cuts on us.
Mr. Jha,
I'm just asking you a
Mr.
question.
Jha, Mr. Jha, just a minute. Between both of you, a simple point needs to be made. Mr. Jha, 1 second. 1 second, Mr. Jha. Just hold it. Hold it, Mr. Jha. Hold it, Mr. Jha. You see, on some things, please be clear. Just listen to me and don't interrupt me. Even if you feel you've completely been edged out in terms of logic on the debate, hear me, I'll just make 4 points. Then you can go back and think or recover as you want to.
No, that's
the fact is this, Mr. Jha. I have 4 questions for you. I have 4 questions for you. I have 4 questions for you, Mr. Jha. 4 questions for you, Mr. Jha. Which government? 4 questions for you. Yes, Mr. Jha, let the viewers decide.
You assume that the viewer of Newshour
let the viewers decide. I have 1 question. 4 questions, they all have 1 answer.
Don't pass a summary.
4 questions, 1 answer, Mr. Jha. Why are you looking nervous?
On this issue.
Don't be nervous. 4 questions and 1 answer, Mr. Jha. Which government signed the... Don't stop me, Mr. Jha. These tactics don't work. You'll reveal yourself. If you try to do what you did, just speaking over another person, not a good idea. It's become a little old-fashioned. Try something new. Now, Mr. Jha, I want to tell you this. Which government signed the Sharm el-Sheikh agreement which for the first time mentioned Balochistan in July 2009, 8 months after 26/11, and let down the people of India? 1. Which government's Prime Minister called Yusuf Raza Geelani a man of peace 4 months after the serial blast in Mumbai? Okay. 3rd question. Which government, after the beheading of our soldiers, which said after this dastardly act there can't be business as usual, went ahead, rolled the red carpet, had a lavish lunch for the Pakistani Prime Minister 1 month after the Hyderabad blast? And which government, which once again said time are not right for talks after the 6th August killing of our soldiers at the border, which government's incompetent Prime Minister met Nawaz Sharif in New York? 4 questions, 1 answer. Food for thought. Meenakshi Lekhi, what do you want to add to that? I'm closing the debate. You want to make a point, I can clearly see. Food for thought. That's food for thought for you, Mr. Jha. Meenakshi Lekhi.
Which government suspended the composite dialogue process? Which government isolated Pakistan?
One more line and then you can answer. One more line and then you can
Which government made sure that Hafiz Syed was branded as an
Just respond to Meenakshi Lekhi.
And his organization was banned as branded as an international terrorist.
That United Nations Security Council
1 minute.
That Pakistan got a very categorical message that it could not take India for granted.
Mr. Jha, please, Mr. Jha. Even if, 1 second, even if you have been provoked by the 4 questions, calm down.
It made sure
calm down.
Pakistan at no point took India for granted.
Well, gentlemen, Mr. Jha, I will not understand diplomacy from the same people who believed in nothing but biryani diplomacy till a while back. Sanjay Jha and Meenakshi Lekhi.
Why don't you ask?
Thank you for joining me on the Newshour Debate. And before, thank you for joining me on that Newshour Debate. The verdict is with our viewers. I want you to tell me what you thought, and I'll pass on your tweets to Mr. Sanjay Jha and Meenakshi Lekhi both.